Today, we start a thorough investigation of welfare, a subject that has recently been in the news and aroused the interest of many. Welfare in the United States provides a crucial safety net for many people and families. But it's no secret that some people see it as a big waste of tax dollars, frequently connecting it to sloth and a lack of work ethic. While there are clearly examples of misuse and fraud in any program involving money and people, the extent may not be as ubiquitous as frequently claimed. Approximately 11 to 13% of people receiving public assistance are thought to be abusing the system or simply lying about their need for it. When compared to other government initiatives, this percentage is not particularly high in the big picture. Regardless of whether one agrees with its importance or not, welfare is still a crucial program. Surprisingly, data show that almost 70% of Americans are only 2 or 3 missed paychecks away from needing welfare or other public help. Have you ever wondered which US state has the biggest proportion of welfare-dependent citizens? So, prepare to dive into the list of the top 10 states with the highest welfare rates. Stay with us as we go through each of these phases one by one, whether your goal is to grasp the socio-economic forces at play more thoroughly or just to increase your knowledge. Number 10. Georgia. Like many other US states, Georgia struggles with considerable pockets of poverty and pessimism, particularly in inner-city and rural areas. Given the state's past difficulties with restricted access to high-quality education, healthcare, and employment prospects, this should not be shocking. The deterioration of sectors like manufacturing and agriculture has made things worse economically. Despite recent governmental initiatives to address these concerns, poverty still exists and forces people to rely on welfare and other types of government support. Georgia now has 13,247 people receiving welfare for per 100,000 population. It's no secret that Oregon struggles with poverty and homelessness. Even though the state is home to thriving cities like Portland, many of its citizens struggle financially, especially in the eastern parts of the state. Historically, the wood industry was the main driver of Oregon's economy, but when it fell out of favor, local economies suffered. Because of escalating living expenses, particularly in Portland, finding affordable housing has become a serious problem. Despite efforts to solve these issues, Oregon still has difficulties, with 13,775 residents receiving welfare for every 100,000 people. Number 8. Florida. With its tourist destinations like Disneyland and stunning beaches, Florida is frequently viewed as a utopia, but many of its people face serious financial difficulties. A sizable portion of the population now lives below the poverty line as a result of high housing prices, restricted access to high-quality healthcare, and wage inequities. Although Florida's economy has expanded in a number of areas, a sizable fraction of its citizens continue to face financial challenges. The discontinuation of various initiatives addressing these concerns in recent years has made the problem worse, and it is projected that Florida will likely see more serious issues in the years to come. Florida now has 13,852 residents on welfare for every 100,000 people. Number 7. Illinois. Like Florida, Illinois is one of the few states that consistently places highly on lists of the states with the highest poverty rate and the states with the most welfare recipients. This is a result of its big population. Illinois has a large population, and many of them are affected by poverty. This is especially true in cities like Chicago, which has pockets of extreme poverty. It has been difficult to address these issues, and despite attempts to fight poverty, Illinois has 13,908 people on welfare for every 100,000 people. Number 6. Alabama. 3 things are very important in Alabama: sweet tea, poverty, and supporting the Crimson Tide, a cherished football team. Even though there have been some improvements recently, Alabama has continually had one of the worst rates of poverty in the country. Approximately 16% of the population, as opposed to the national average of 10.5%, were considered to be poor in 2021. Many Alabamans now rely on welfare due to poverty and the collapse of some industries, with 14,358 people receiving assistance for every 100,000 people. Number 5. Oklahoma. Despite having a thriving farming industry, Oklahoma, which is located in the center of the United States, has struggled with poverty for a long time. This problem is influenced by a number of variables, such as economic downturns, restricted access to high-quality education, and unequal work possibilities. These problems are linked, proving that a comprehensive strategy is needed to combat poverty. In Oklahoma, there are 14,648 people on welfare for every 100,000 people. Number 4. Mississippi. Mississippi, which is frequently linked to high poverty rates, comes in at number 4 on our list. Although some people might find this surprising, Mississippi has made considerable strides in recent years. Nevertheless, historical problems with access to education, employment, and economic inequality persist in some parts of the state. In Mississippi, there are 14,873 assistance recipients for every 100,000 people. Number 3. West Virginia. West Virginia, which is tucked away in the untamed Appalachian Mountains, has long suffered with poverty. The demise of the coal industry, restricted access to healthcare and education, and a lack of diverse economic options are all contributing factors to this problem. The opioid addiction issue has also caused the state to experience a double punch of economic difficulties. With 17,144 people on welfare for every 100,000 people, West Virginia has a notably high welfare rate. Number 2. Louisiana. Mississippi and Louisiana, both states in the Deep South, both have significant rates of poverty. Rural areas frequently struggle with extreme poverty that has lingered for decades, while some towns flourish. Louisiana suffers difficulties because to economic inequality, restricted access to education, and inequities in healthcare, despite its stunning natural surroundings and diverse cultural heritage. Natural catastrophes like Hurricane Katrina have made these problems much worse. In Louisiana, there are 17,340 welfare recipients for every 100,000 people. Number 1. New Mexico. New Mexico, a state that has struggled with poverty for a long time, takes the top spot on our list. A number of reasons, including the state's economic dependence on a small number of businesses, low access to high-quality education, and a long history of socioeconomic inequalities among its diverse population, contribute to New Mexico's enduring poverty. Despite recent efforts by the state to address these difficulties, there are still many obstacles to overcome. With 21,292 residents reliant on some form of welfare for every 100,000 population, New Mexico has the highest welfare rate. In conclusion, there are many facets and complex issues surrounding assistance and poverty. Although some have made progress in addressing poverty, it remains a widespread problem in many parts of the United States. Each state faces specific issues. It is critical to approach this subject with empathy and a dedication to identifying solutions that might support people enduring economic problems individually and as a community.